out front tonight, we have nukes for that. That is defeating NATO. It is a direct threat from a Russian commander broadcast on Russian state TV. He says Russia cannot win the war. He clearly believes it is fighting without nukes.
We realize that our resources, of course, have their limits. And the next spiral of escalation can only be one, nuclear. And we don't have the resources to defeat the NATO bloc with conventional means. But we have nuclear weapons for that.
Defeating the NATO bloc with nuclear weapons. That commander's cavalier certainty about nuclear weapons is chilling. And it comes as the war is now on the verge of a dangerous new phase. CNN is learning the United States is now finalizing plans to send the most sophisticated air defense systems on the planet to Ukraine. We're talking about the U.S. Patriot missiles that Ukraine, frankly, has been pounding the table asking for since the war began. The system can take down tactical ballistic missiles, cruise-type missiles, aircraft as well. Now, for Russia, Patriot missiles have been positioned as a red line. The former Russian president, Dmitry Medvedev, has warned NATO against providing Ukraine with them, saying that if NATO did that, the Western alliance would immediately become a legitimate target of Russian armed forces. Those are powerful words, and based on Medvedev's words, Putin clearly views this move as an escalation. All of this news coming as air raid sirens blared across all of Ukraine today. That familiar, now haunting sound as Putin ramps up his air assault with crucial help from his close ally Belarus. And tonight, there is word of snap Belarusian military drills along the Ukraine border. The country's defense ministry announcing what it's calling a sudden inspection of combat readiness. Now, military equipment is also on the move in Belarus. And remember, it is a country where Putin pulls the strings. Just 4 days ago, here he is appearing alongside the Belarusian president, Alexander Lukashenko. That is at an economic summit.
Bolster the civilian population inside of Ukraine right now. Let's be very clear. Putin is no longer targeting the Ukrainian military. He's targeting the Ukrainian people, their infrastructure, their electricity. He is taking the fight to the people. So putting the Patriot missiles in my view, is a wise movement because this deflects and mitigates, but does not eliminate Putin's ability to take his war to the people inside of Ukraine.
Doug, last night I spoke with the recently departed U.S. ambassador to Russia, John Sullivan. So this is somebody who, recently saw Putin up close, right? He was in that role for more than 2 years under Presidents Trump and Biden, and he was with Putin directly, personally, in that time. So I asked him about the speculation that we all see about Putin's health. We're showing pictures of him now, so you can see a difference if you just look at a picture in the past 2 years. There is a difference, and the ambassador told me that Putin looks, quote, puffy. As someone who follows Russia and Putin so closely, do you agree with that?
It's hard to speculate from what we see on the outside. Identifying illnesses and the state of health among national leaders, particularly those of our rivals like Putin, is a major intelligence requirement for the community. And I would tell you, the CIA has vastly creative ways of trying to get tissue samples and such to try to get a better look. But otherwise, you're extrapolating from open data. And what does it mean? What are the consequences? If Putin is ill, does it mean he becomes more desperate? Does it mean that we could look forward to a change in regime? And would the change in regime be any better, any different? We're talking about Putin perhaps engaging the Belarusians to attack. Now, here's a country that within 2 years had protest marches of hundreds of thousands of people. And you'd have to think it'd be a pretty desperate act that could actually reignite the fire in Belarus to set the stage for its opposition, largely overseas, to stir the emotions of folks in the country, including its military. So health remains a critical component, but even if you know the answers, it's what does it mean to you?
All right. Thank you both very much. I appreciate your time tonight.